Parlays and player props are back. It's week 9 of the NFL season. Today, I got 5 player props plus 1 Underdog Fantasy entry. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. First off, we've got to recap how we did on Thursday Night Football. Finally, a 2-0 night. Hopefully, we can continue this momentum into this week. We had Deontay Johnson, 5 receptions and 50 yards. He got that done pretty easily. Then we had Will Levis, interception, and Titans team total under 24.5. Yeah, sweaty, but that was the luck we needed. Will Levis throws a pick on his final pass attempt. We needed that. Hopefully, we continue this momentum into this weekend. I'm feeling good about the 5 plays. As always, let me know your 5 plays down below. At the end of the video, I will talk about my Underdog Fantasy entry, trying to turn 25 bucks into 500. If that hits, I'm giving away $250. All you got to do, hit that subscribe button. It's free. Go do it. What are you waiting for? Go hit that subscribe button, of course, on Underdog Fantasy. You can sign up using our code COS. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $500. No, that's not a typo. $500, and you get a free square to use on Sunday. Depending on what time you sign up, they might give you a different one. If you sign up too late on Sunday, they'll give you one for Monday Night Football. So take advantage of that. Let's dive into my first player prop of the week, one that people will love. It is an under, which is why I said that, because everyone hates unders. Let's talk about this guy. Jordan Love, I like his under 32.5 pass attempts, minus 105 on DraftKings. Now, for a pass attempts line, Jordan Love could throw for 6,000 yards as long as he has 32 or less pass attempts. Hey, we're good with it there. And honestly, if this does go down to 31.5, I like it. And honestly, I think this is a very good prop to take. I mean, we're 1-0 on pass attempts the market. I really don't take a lot of these props, but I really like this one. Let's move to 2-0. Now, let's talk about Jordan Love this season, the Green Bay Packers starting quarterback. You look at his pass attempts so far this year. I'll just kind of read them off. He's at 27, 25, 44, 36, 30, 31, and 41 pass attempts. Now, the under, 32.5. He took this every single week. He will have won 4 times and lost 3 times. And the Packers actually, speaking of won 4 times, they've lost 4 straight times in a row. They are favored on Sunday versus the Rams. So while I'm not going to come out here and say the Packers win this game, in fact, they are favored despite losing the last 4. I think goes to show, hey, I think they got a chance of winning this game, and hopefully they do win this one, because that's obviously going to bode well for pass attempts unders, whereas if they're losing, he's going to be throwing the ball more. But you look at Jordan Love so far this season, and I've been paying keen attention to him because we have his under in passing yards in our NFL long shot, same game, or, NFL long shot PrizePicks entry. Jordan Love, this has been the story of his season. 97 pass attempts in the first half, 137 in the second half. Why would you ask? Because only 61 of his 234 pass attempts this season have come when the Packers are leading or tied. This is a team that honestly has not been leading or tied really hardly ever, except for maybe the first week or whatever they play the Bears early in the season. Every single other game they've been trailing. And just to beat that point into your head, the Packers, here, I'm going to put some stats up on the screen. Let me describe them. This is going to be the Packers at halftime, what the score is, and Love's pass attempts. So you saw in week 1, they led by 4 at halftime. Love, only 27 pass attempts. They led by 1 at halftime. In week 2, only 25 pass attempts. You look at the next week, down 17, down 24, down 7, down 9, down 7. Of course, Jordan Love's going to hit his over in pass attempts, although he's still under in 7 games. But they're down by a touchdown going into halftime almost every single week. They just have sucked in the first half. I think they'll be a little bit better here, and I not necessarily think it's their offense being better. I think the Rams' offense is going to stink because Matthew Stafford, if he plays, he's got a UC. I think he's got a thumb sprain. I don't know how he's played through it before, but still, that's not going to feel good. And if he doesn't play, Brett Rippon behind him, yeah, he stinks. I just watched him in person in Cowboys-Rams game. That was just a bummer. In the second half, he had to play most of that. So at the end of the day, I just don't trust that Rams offense to put this Packers offense at a deficit. And I think the Packers defense can hold their own at home. We've seen 5 of the last 8 quarterbacks this season have gone under this line against the Rams. You look at the 3 that went over. Joe Burrow, they refused to run the ball. Josh Dobbs, this team was down 17, lost by that many. And then Jalen Hurts, that's a team that they should run the ball, but they just want to throw it a ton, and they also had 38 minutes of time of possession. I don't think the Packers control the clock that much, and if they do, that means Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are having a day. And they said Aaron Jones is supposed to be unleashed, whatever the heck that means. I don't really buy into that a ton. I do think that they're able to control the clock, and I think we see if either team is to score, I think it's long drives. I don't think it's a ton of, 50-yard pass pace. No, that's probably not going to happen. I really like Jordan Love's under, though, in pass attempts. I don't necessarily, I rather this than the yards. I like his under 32.5 pass attempts. If he wants to go 31 for 31 from the field, have a career game, go for it. For taking pass attempts, hopefully the Packers are leading in that game. Now, my second play, actually, you got to fast forward because it's going to be early on in the day. Hopefully you're watching this before the Sunday Monday. Game tips off, I believe, in Germany, because we're going to Isaiah Pacheco, the Kansas City Chiefs running back, over 82.5 rushing plus receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. Personally, only plays up to about 85.5. I don't think the line changes a ton. It's available on FanDuel, PrizePicks, well, you probably have it on PrizePicks, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars. You'll see it on almost every other, daily fantasy app. They got it out there. If you're like, Austin, man, I don't have a individual line. I only have one of the individual lines. You need rushing or receiving. I lean rushing, but I like taking these sort of props because it's kind of neutralizes that game script. As obviously, Pacheco is the starting running back for the Chiefs. If they are leading in this game, he's going to see more rush attempts. If they are trailing, he'll see more receptions. That's why I like it here. But look at Pacheco. Just talk about his other lines. I don't care about this line right now. His other lines, his rush attempts set at 14.5, and his receptions line set at 3.5. So they're expecting a pretty big workload for Pacheco, given that he's had only 13 and 8 rushing attempts these last 2 weeks. Heck, his rushing attempts line, I think, went up after last week. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense as they're on the, well, technically, I think they're the home team, but they're on the road, I guess, in Germany, taking on the Dolphins. And honestly, I think this kind of comes down to, hey, keep the ball out of Tua Tagovailoa's hands, and I think that's what they're going to try to do. This is a Dolphins team that plays notoriously a lot of too high safety looks. They beg you to run the football because they are going to take their chances with you dinking and dunking down the field versus their fast-paced offense that can put up points like it's going out of style. They can make those turnovers or make people to fumble, and that's how they win their games, although their offense has kind of been carrying them too. But I think the Chiefs are going to run the football here. I think they're going to run it a ton. I don't necessarily, Patrick Mahomes will obviously do his thing, but I think we're going to see Pacheco, who's been involved actively in this receiving game, 6, 4, and 3 receptions these last 3 weeks. I think the Dolphins are going to play their too high safety looks, limit those big plays, and then they're going to try their best and put all the rest of their guys, all other 9 guys, are going on to Travis Kelce. Yeah, that's what I think they're going to game plan for. Try to limit Travis Kelce as much as you can. You can't obviously take him completely away, but you can try to double team him coming out of breaks. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of open, field on the sides, which is where guys like Isaiah Pacheco or Jerick McKinnon are going to run out of the backfield. I think if Pat Mahomes hits them, I think they could turn one up the field. I really like Pacheco. I think this is a great spot to back him after 2 bad games. I think this is a really good one. Isaiah Pacheco, I love his over 82.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit this over in just rushing yards alone, but realistically, it's probably going to be 50 to 60 rushing yards, and he probably could get 30 to 40 receiving yards as well. Pacheco, go have a big day, man. We're rooting for you. Now, my next play is a rushing plus receiving yards play as well, but really there's an easy pivot here because it's for Demari Douglas of the New England Patriots, over 46.5 rushing plus receiving yards, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, Douglas, if you don't know who he is, he's a wide receiver for the Patriots. So the easy pivot is just take us over in receiving yards. Because realistically, Demari Douglas, if he hits us over with just rushing yards alone, something went on in New England, and something's going on with the Patriots offense because this is a receiver at will. But I'm taking rushing plus receiving because the difference is only about 4 yards, and we've seen over the last few weeks. I will take a shortcut into some of the props that he's had these last 2 weeks. He had 1 carry for 20 yards in 1 week and 1 carry for 4 yards. So I think he at least gets 1, maybe 2 carries. This is a guy they try to get the ball in his hands recently, and I think he's going to do pretty well. You look at the last 2 weeks, 62 and 77% of snaps, 4 receptions, 54 yards, and that 1 carry for 20 yards 2 weeks ago. And last week, 5 receptions, a lot of volume, only 25 yards, and that 1 carry for 4 yards. I mean, this is a rookie 6th-round pick who really has come onto the scene in this last few weeks, and they're going to need him even more, as now Kendrick Bourne, I love that man, he tore his ACL, he's out for the year. Devonte Parker, I believe, out as well with a concussion. This is a Patriots team that they need playmakers. They don't really have a lot of guys that say, oh, that guy really made a lot of people miss. Ezekiel Elliott, he's really not doing that. Ramondre Stevenson, not as much either. And so this receiving core is really just, there's a reason a 6th-round rookie pick has just jumped up the depth chart and is now basically their wide receiver 1. And I think he's going to get the ball a ton. You think about Mac Jones, not a guy that we really say, oh, he's throwing the ball deep. He wants to get the ball into those playmakers' hands, and Demari Douglas is one of them. And the books know that. He's got his receptions line sitting at minus 180 at 3.5. So they think he gets the ball 4 or more times, and we've seen 8 wide receivers do that against Washington, and they've absolutely feasted. 66, 78, 99, 111, 125, 130, 175, 230 yards. They've absolutely been cooked, this Washington secondary. And while Demari Douglas is not a guy that's necessarily going to go take the top off the defense, I do think that he can run those over the middle routes, make people miss. This guy is fun to watch with the ball in his hands, and he makes this Patriots offense not great to watch. It's not good, but I think he gives them some juice in this, coming out of the backfield, doing some motions in the slot. I really like Demari Douglas. He's an unheard of guy, but I think he can cash out for us. Now, my 4th and 5th final plays before we get into Underdog Fantasy entry will be 2 same-game parlays, very easy pivots. Let's talk about this first one. DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears, over 4.5 receptions, and Chris Olave of the New Orleans Saints, over 4.5 receptions, plus 170 on Bet365. I'm putting 1 unit on this to win 1.7. I love the value here. Now, what I don't love the value is is either of these guys alone. Now you're looking at DJ Moore and Chris Olave alone over 4.5 receptions. You're looking at minus 150 or worse for both of them. I personally don't love that. That doesn't scream, ooh, I want to bet that. But combining them together in the same game parlay, I think we have a chance here. The next best odds are getting plus 166 on DraftKings, plus 150 on FanDuel. But let's talk about DJ Moore, who does owe us. And I wouldn't necessarily say he owes us some money. I would argue that Tyler Badgett owes us some money. But we talk about DJ Moore so far the last 5 weeks, 8, 8, 5, 8, and 4 receptions. We would know the 4 pretty well because we had his over 4.5 last week. Hit 3 at halftime. They were down the whole game. And he somehow only got 1 in the second half. I'm not going to make complaints. He has not gone back-to-back games this season without 6+ receptions. And Cole Kmet had 10 receptions last week. That ain't happening again. This is DJ Moore's week. I'm speaking it into existence. He still had 6 targets. I know the Saints aren't the best, matchup against, best for wide receivers, but DJ Moore also, I don't think he's the guy that's going to be running deep. I think they're doing a lot of screen plays, getting the ball in his hands after they failed to do that last week and got smoked. Now, over the last 2 weeks, we've seen the Saints been vulnerable to opposing wide receivers. I mean, you look at last 2 weeks ago, Saints gave up 5 receptions to Evan Ingram, 6 to Christian Kirk. You could say Evan Ingram's a tight end. Now he basically plays as a wide receiver. And then last week, 7 and 8 to Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. of the Indianapolis Colts. So I really do like DJ Moore. I like to be trailing in this game. I think that he sees up at least 5 receptions. I consider taking him for 6+, which is like plus 130, but I like it better, safer for 5. I don't really trust Badgett as a QB, honestly, but I think he gets at least 5. And then Chris Olave, he's just been a guy that owes us some money after one doinked him off the head, which would have cashed us out for a plus 135 winner. You look at him, 5 receptions in 6 of 8 weeks. He's done it in 3 straight. His only 2 misses were when Derek Carr was thrown with not an arm. I mean, he was trying to basically shovel passing it out there. So I really do think that we'll see both of these 2 guys get 5 receptions. I really like them. I like them both. I think this is a good way to play it. We've seen this Bears secondary. They give up a lot of yards to running backs in terms of receiving yards, but they can't really stop other guys either. Keenan Allen just had 8 against them. Jacoby Myers and Devonte Adams both had 7 the week before. I think that both these guys get 5 or more receptions, plus 170. I'll take a chance putting 1 unit on it to win 1.7. I think that's a good bet to make. Now, my 5th and final play of the day will be a CeeDee Lamb and Devonte Smith receptions, the same game parlay as well. 5 for CeeDee, 4 for Devonte. Boom, that's plus 102. It's also plus 100 on Bet365. For my DraftKings people out there, you take CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, I would rather take his over 5.5 receptions and parlay that with Devonte Smith 25+. Now, sure, that is asking CeeDee to get 1 more reception if you're on DraftKings, but I think he gets 6. I'd rather take it at 5, obviously, because there's more ways to hit that than there is to hit 6. But I do think that both these guys are in line for decent days. And I honestly was very close to pulling the trigger on Devonte Smith's over 4.5 receptions at plus 120, taking another ladder, one of our biggest plays last weekend, really of the season. But let's talk about CeeDee first. Since the start of last season, he has 5+ receptions in 18 of 24 games. The other 6 that he didn't get 5, he got 4 in them. He has 4 in all of 24. So very high floor. His last 2 against the Eagles, 5 and 10 receptions. One of those, the 5 was with Cooper Rush at quarterback. And we've seen the last 2 weeks, 7 and 12 receptions. Whatever him, Dak Prescott, and that the offensive coordinator did over that 2-week span 2 weeks ago, I don't know, but they've been getting him involved often, and they really need him because this receiving core, Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks haven't really been there all that often. So CeeDee Lamb getting a lot of those shorter passes, which you love to see for receptions. And I really do think he's in for a big day against the Eagles, a very tough team to run against. So you need to pass it. CeeDee's their number 1 guy there. I think he at least gets 5. Honestly, I think he gets 6, 7, or 8. But I'll take the 5 for a little bit for a parlay leg. And then the other leg, Devonte Smith to get 4 receptions. Something he's done in 6 of 7 games so far this year, including 3 straight. He has 4 receptions in 21 of his last 25. Including 5 and 8 in his last 2 versus Dallas. So it's the guy, we know A.J. Brown's the number 1 guy in that wide receiving core. A.J. Brown's been scorched earth. The guy's been going berserk. But Devonte Smith is going to get a ton of one-on-one coverage, especially for Dallas, who they're trying to defend A.J. Brown as best as they can, as well as the run game. I think Devonte Smith gets those short looks, which you saw last week. I think it's just a great spot to back him, which is why I liked him for 5 receptions as well. So I really do like this one. I think plus 102 is great value here. I mean, it's sure I wish it were better value, but for 2 legs that I really do think are pretty safe. I mean, Devonte normally has a pretty high floor, and CeeDee Lamb does too. So plus 102 here. I think this is a great spot to back both these 2 wide receivers. What projects to be a higher scoring game in Philadelphia between these 2 divisional rivals. We'll take it. And then my final play, not really a play, it's an Underdog Fantasy entry. A reminder, sign up using our code COS or the top link in the description. You get a 100% deposit match up to $500. It's a typo on my part, 500. Take advantage of that. The legs I've already talked about. Devonte Smith higher than 4 receptions, some push potential there. Chris Olave is higher in receiving yards. DJ Moore higher than 5 receptions. CeeDee higher than 6 receptions, and Jordan Love lower than 32.5 pass attempts. $25 to win 500. If that hits, I'm giving away $250 to one person that subscribed to the channel. It's that simple, baby. Let's have a 5-0 week. Let's carry that momentum from Thursday's NFL slate into this weekend, and let's absolutely dominate. I will see you guys back again tomorrow with some more picks for Monday Night Football. I'll see you then. It's Austin. I'm signing out. Also, for the people that are asking, where's the long shot video? Look, I've been super swamped with other stuff to do, so long shot will return maybe next weekend. We'll try. Whenever I have some more time on the weekends to do it, we will bring that challenge. But Austin, I'm signing out. Go check out the other videos on the screen. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.